So welcome to Make It Rain Referrals. I'm really excited that you guys are all here. Also to the people that are online watching. A little bit about myself, because there's still faces in here that I've never seen before. My name is Chelsea Steen. I'm 32. I'm married to my wife, Victoria. We've been together for about 8 years. She's a wonderful woman. I'm also a retired athlete. So played international soccer, collegiate basketball, tackle football up until high school, did all things athletic. And now I do yoga and I scuba dive because I've been really hard on my joints. So this is 30. If you weren't at the company meeting, you might not know this about me, but I started a painting company back when I was 19. So I ran that for about 8 years before selling that and getting into real estate. I think that this is relevant information for you to know, because when I'm thinking about business, I'm not just thinking about real estate. I'm thinking about service-based businesses as a whole. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to share with you today, I know a lot of real estate agents have side gigs or other hustles or other businesses. You can actually take this and apply it to a lot of the other stuff that you're doing too, or have done in the past or will do in the future. I like to travel. So traveled quite a bit. Last year, my wife and I had the opportunity to travel around the world. We hit 16 countries over 10 months, still brought in about $400K in GCI. So it was a really cool experience to get to live out my dream, which is traveling and still running a successful business in the process. And then for today's class, a little nugget I wanted you to know. I added up like my sales volume, and coming into this year, it was around like roughly 80 million in the last 5 years. But most importantly is 89% of that is referral based. 2% has come from classes that I teach, so not a lot. No need to go do the classes. And then 9% has come from online, because I have a really great SEO specialist that I'm happy to put you in touch with if you need something. And sorry, every time I speak, I swear, as soon as I start, every ounce of moisture evaporates from my body at once. So you're going to see me drink a lot of water. Okay, so a couple of class rules really quick. I do believe that there is such a thing as a stupid question, but I want you to ask it anyways. So if you have any questions, please just raise your hand rather than interjecting, and go ahead and ask. And I will only judge you inside. Raise your hand, please, use the information, and then I always put this rule in my classes: no more excuses. I bet if I had to guess, you've probably been to 10, 20, 30 real estate classes at this point, and there's always a really good reason as to why you can't implement something that you've learned. Just cut it the fuck out. Take the information, go apply it in your business, and start doing the things that you're here to learn. All right, so a bit of an agenda. We're going to go through 3 sections. One is super quick. We're going to take a quick break. It's for me to jet out and use the restroom, come back and start talking again. So if you need to get up to go to the bathroom, get water, whatever, just do it in the middle of class, because that break is not going to quite be long enough for that to happen. And then we're going to get into the final component of the class. Before we get going, I wanted to get to know the skill level a little bit in the room, the experience level, where people are located, so that I can try to speak to that. Sorry to my online people, I'm not going to be looking at the chat, so this is just for the people in person. Could you raise your hand if you are not at your castle? But like hi, right? Like be proud that you're not here. Yet. Okay, all right, cool. First of all, welcome. I hope that you find our office to be as welcoming as I do. One thing about our office is it's hard to find the bathroom. So I want you to know that it is at the very far end of the building if you end up needing to go. It's not well labeled. So everyone else is at your castle, or does somebody else fall into a different category? Like you don't even know how you got here today? No, okay. All right, so everyone's at your castle, just a couple who aren't. I want to understand how long you guys have been in business too. So could you raise your hand if you've been in the business for less than 2 years? Okay. Could you raise your hand if you've been in the business from 2 to 5 years? Okay, how about 5 to 10? How about more than 10? Our veterans, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're kind of diverse. So I'll do my best to speak to different areas of business and hopefully give all of you a little something to take. And then out of curiosity, raise your hand if 25% or less of your business right now is from referrals. 25% or less, okay. How about like 25 to 50% is from referrals? 50% or more? Okay, cool. Hey, so for my people that are 50% or more referral, could you guys just give me an idea of what, just brief, like what you're hoping to learn today? Because you're already doing it pretty well.
Well, most of mine, nearly all of mine, is former clients and referrals. My challenge is adding more because over my years, clients have died and moved out of town, you know.
Yeah.
So that's my challenge, is increasing the number in my database so I can increase that.
This is real. This is fallout in your database, right? And they say that about 10% of your database falls out every year. So if you think you're just going to go grab 500 clients or people in your database and that's all you're going to market to, you got another thing coming. You got to be replacing 50 every year. So that's great. What about you, Devin?
For me, being a newer agent, my database just isn't big enough.
Okay. So how to add? Yeah.
How to add and get the people that you are already in there to branch out and bring more people in as well.
Okay. Kenna?
How to better communicate with my clients to send me referrals. Say, hey, give me the referrals. Please.
Yeah, how to ask. Okay. That's going to be at the end. So you have to sit for an hour and 50 minutes to get that. Anybody else have anything burning they want to share of something they're hoping to get? Because we're going to talk about all those, so that's easy. No? Okay, cool. Well, then everybody will be happy is what I'm guessing by the end. So I was freaking out about this class to my wife, right? Talking to her of like, listen, it's just so dense and we're not really getting to the real referral part of this until the second half. And she's like, listen, I think you just need to warn people. So here's the disclaimer. We need to go a little slow and talk about the fundamentals that you need to have in place in your business and the framework that you need to have in place in order to then layer in the referrals so that you can actually build something that has momentum that isn't going to fail. Instead of you building, it's going to be more of something that you're maintaining. But in order to do so, we need to actually build it with some of those blocks. So I apologize if this is stuff you weren't expecting to hear today, but the first little bit, we're going to talk about the framework. Because I'm not somebody that just wants to teach you, oh, here's this sexy little thing, and then you have no idea how to actually consistently go do it. So getting into part one, what and why? What are referrals? Why in the world would you want to run a referral-based business? What is a referral? This is pretty simple. Hopefully we all know this already, and that's why you showed up, which is sending somebody to another person, place, or whatever because you want them to get some sort of service, treatment, advice, etc. Okay? Now, why on earth would you want to run a referral-based business? To my people that are less than 50% referral-based, I would encourage you to rethink, maybe this is something that I want to add more of, and hopefully that's why you're here today. But why would you want to do referral-based? Number one for me was profitability. Does anyone here work the Zillow team? What is your margin like on those leads? About a third, right? So if it's a $10,000 commission, you're going to walk away with like $3,500 or so. When you get a referral from somebody, what's your margin? Yeah, outside of team split, company split, whatever. It's much higher. So for profitability's sake, I would argue that running a referral-based business is going to be a little bit more sustainable in the long run. Because yes, you could go make 100K in GCI from doing Zillow leads, but how many more people are you going to have to work with because your profit margin is so much smaller and there's only so much of you. The second one is that you have a higher SR. SR stands for success ratio. So this means a higher closing rate. So when you go sit down with somebody that's from a referral, you have a much higher likelihood that you're actually going to end up working with that person than somebody that you found off of Zillow or an expired listing or door knocking, right? You can build momentum with referrals that you can't quite build when you're constantly starting and stopping with something like Zillow, right? I don't mean to beat up on my Zillow people. It's just an easy example for me to use right now, which is, okay, here's a Zillow lead, perfect. I go close that person and hopefully they refer me, but they very well might not. Whereas when you go work with somebody who was a referral, it makes it a lot easier to say, hey, see how that happened? Could you do that for me too in the future? Because this is how I actually stay in business. So all of a sudden you can have 10 clients that were referrals that then refer you to 10 more people. Now you have 20 people referring you. It can start to create momentum in a really meaningful way. I would then argue because of all of the reasons above, you might have a higher quality of life, which I think is a good thing. We should probably be aiming for that as best as possible. Why shouldn't you go referral based, right? Let's do the other side. Tables are going to drive me nuts. One is I think that there's a little bit of a lack of predictability when you are completely referral based like I am. I would argue that this exists in anything because we are in a market-based industry, but there's a little bit less predictability in terms of when am I going to be really busy. Because you don't know when somebody's suddenly going to have 10 people calling you from these referrals and you're like, fuck. All right, I'm going to be really busy this next month. So there's the lack of a little bit of predictability. The next is you should be going deeper in your relationships with people, which means it's probably going to hurt a little bit more when you lose a client. Not if you lose a client, but when you lose a client. I hate to be the bearer. I say this to my buyers when they're buying a house. You pay for an inspection. I wish I could tell you the house is going to be perfect, but it's definitely not going to be, right? There's going to be shit that comes up. This is the same thing. You're going to lose people at some point, and it's going to hurt because you've invested in them a little bit more. One little nugget on that, don't burn that bridge. Don't burn that bridge. I have had clients that they used their cousin that came back to me after and it was, whew, shouldn't have done that. I'm like, well, yep. Anyways. So don't burn that bridge. Keep that going. All right, so now we're going to talk about the fundamentals. This charming young lady right here was me when I was like 4 or 5 years old. First got started playing basketball, could hardly hold it, as you can see. It was literally bigger than my freaking head and like torso. But I had to learn the fundamentals of basketball in order to be able to go play in college, right? So when I think about fundamentals, I think about that little 4 or 5 year old that was honestly just there for the ice cream cone that you got after. But they did this thing with us, which was they put these colored wristbands on you. You remember this? And then they also would put that same color on the opposing player that you were supposed to be guarding so that you knew who you were supposed to be guarding, right? And as a 5-year-old, I was like, sick, that's my mark, you know? Like, that person's not gonna score this whole game. Yeah. But that was such a helpful thing for me to learn about defense. Like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be playing defense because as a child, you're, you know, chaos. So I had to learn about that, and then I became a really skilled defensive player throughout high school, which is ultimately why I was recruited to go play in college. So you need these fundamentals of how to dribble, how to shoot, how to do whatever to get there. Same thing, not just in real estate, but any business, and you guys are business owners. I'm gonna go through these like so fast because I teach a class on this that's coming up in June, which is the how to run your business like a business. Instead of just running real estate and letting it run you, how to run your business like a business. And these are the 6 things that we go through in excruciating detail. So I'm just gonna give you a little tidbit on each one, and then we'll pop through to the framework. But what I want you to know is that if you don't have these things in place, you're not running a business, your business is running you. And it may seem elementary. I know we have some higher performers in the room too. We need reminders sometimes. We need reminders. I know I do. So. Here's the next one. By the way, it's not at your castle. They finally got us a bigger room, so we don't have to have 50 people online. So we are going to be at DMAR, thank goodness. So come, please do sign up early though, because I guess we can still only fit 75 people, and we had like 101 register for this one. So, all right, so the short of it, here are the 6 little points I talk about in that class. The first thing is you need a badass business plan, because otherwise, what the hell are you doing? You're just going around doing stuff every day, throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying to see what sticks and if it sticks. It's a lot of real estate agents. It's not just you. So it's not fun to run that way. You want to plan, right? So the who, what, when, where, why, how you're doing your business. The second thing is database management. So this is a contact sport. Real estate, right? You're gonna have contacts. You need to have a spot that you put them, that you can stay in touch with them, and something that's going to be, I was just gonna make up a word, automatable. That's not a word. Something that you can automate, right? So this is having all your contacts in one spot. Having them completely filled out is so important as we get into the latter half of this class. That's great if you have 100 people and you have their names and their phone numbers. But we also want their addresses and their email addresses because we're going to try to market to them in each of those ways when we talk about this. So that's a bit of cleanup that I guarantee a lot of you need to go do, is get a complete contact. The next is tag them, right? Buyer or seller, this person's going to be in my 36 touch, which we'll talk about later. Where you got that lead so that you can look back at the end of the year and see where were my lead sources, how many did I convert, and you can look at your numbers. The next two, calendar. Oh my God. I think it was the last class. Was it the last class or 2 classes ago? If there was just one thing that I could leave every single real estate agent, like my voice just burn in your brain with the following statement, it's put it in your calendar. Put it in your, every time you have an idea, amazing, put it in your calendar. Every time you take down a note from today of something that you want to do in your business, put it in your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, when are you going to go do it? Do you guys have time in your calendar right now to review the notes from this class? So when the hell are you going to look back on the notes from this class and take anything from today and go do it? So it might be a good idea if you have your phone right now, pop it up and put in, look at notes from this class and implement plan from said class. Put it in your calendar. I'm going to say it 3 more times so that it just burns in. Put it in your calendar. Put it in your calendar, please. So this is taking a plan and actually implementing it. It's taking an idea and making it a reality. Put it in your calendar. Okay. The next is trackers. So this is really fun because I think I see a lot of business owners that they become business owners because it's like you're not going to tell me what to do, like you're not going to control me kind of thing. And it's hilarious because then you find out that you have to control yourself, which is way harder than somebody else doing it. So trackers are a really good way for you to stay on pace with what you're supposed to be doing. If you come to the class in June, I'll give you mine that you can use, but it's an activity tracker. Here are the activities that I'm supposed to be doing every week that get me to my end result. By the way, the only way you'll figure that out is if you have a great business plan. So here are the activities, and then each week you go in and you put, these were my results versus my goal. How am I doing? Am I ahead? Am I behind? Well, if I'm behind on this week and I'm behind on the next week, I'm probably going to be behind for the year. So tracking your actual activities is what's going to show you what's working, what's not, the costs of what it is that you're doing, and then hopefully give you some self-accountability. Because when you got a spreadsheet of what you're doing right in front of you, it makes it a lot harder to say it's their fault, right? No, it's your fault. Okay, and then the last 2 before we get moving into the framework, routine. I talked about this at the company meeting, if you were there a little bit, about the book, The Compound Effect. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later too. Consistency equals closings. That's what I want you to remember. Consistency equals closings. Has anybody here started with a lead generation tactic and just about as soon as you thought about it and started doing it, you also stopped doing it? There's only one person here that has done that. Wow, okay, well just forget that statement then altogether. Consistency equals closings is the thing I want you to take away. And then there's accountability. You gotta find the accountability that works for you. For me personally, I like having a business coach. Every 2 weeks I'm on the phone with them. They're keeping my head up above water because I can get drowned in the details. Get your head up, look around, what's going on, eyes on the prize, stay focused on that. So accountability, this could also be a team lead. We have some really great teams, quite a few members in the room here on the impact team, wonderful team at Your Castle, great team leaders that will build in accountability. There's also accountability calls. I believe Mr. West runs one of those. Yeah, I don't know if it's free invites, but I'm just making it known that we run these accountability calls. So find a way to hold yourself accountable. And if you can't do it, find somebody else who will. Okay, questions on any of that before we start to talk about the framework? Okay, sorry if you guys have questions, I can't see them. You can email me. Okay, so let's talk about the framework. We talked about the fundamentals, but now we need to build out the framework of the business, and then we're gonna start to layer in the referral portion. So the compound effect, if you have not read it, please, my God, I can only say it so many times, pull out your phone and order it on Amazon, or better yet, from a local bookseller right now. Download it on Audible, do whatever. No one's pulling out their phone, so no one's doing it. They're writing it down, and then here's the funny thing, you're writing it down, and then you're gonna forget about it. It's gonna die in your freaking notes. Order the book. God. It's gonna take you seriously like an hour, 20 minutes, maybe, to read. It's so easy to read, it's straightforward. This book changed my life. It is the story basically of the tortoise versus the hare in a book version, which is a turtle and a rabbit race, right? And the turtle ends up winning at the end because it goes slow and steady over time, rather than the rabbit that's like, okay, I'm gonna run fast and take a break. The way that this translated for me in my life was with my wife. So not just change my business, change my life. She had the audacity to tell me that I'm not great at giving compliments. And I said, well, not anymore. So I got a book, and this book gave me the idea to do this. I grabbed a book, like an empty journal, and every day I started my morning by writing something nice about her down. And I didn't tell her I was doing this, although I suspected she found the book at some point. But every morning I was writing it down, and at the end of 1 year, I gave her the book, and I said, don't ever ask for compliments again. Open the book and pick one. You don't know. No, but really what happened is it helped me form the habit of looking for the good in her every day instead of looking for the negative. It's not that I'm a negative person, but I find the negative to be more useful. Here's something I can change and improve and grow with. Right? Rather than here's all the good stuff. I know, it's weird. I still consider myself to be a positive person, but I have that mentality. That's what I'm looking for. That cannot be fun as a wife. Not at all. So it got me into the habit of looking for the good in her, but then connecting the words to it and not just having that micro thought of, wow, that was a nice thing she did, but saying, that was a nice thing you did, thank you. So you can apply this in every area of your life. I talked about it with exercise at the company meeting, and that has also completely changed the way that I've gone about my health. It's something that I've layered in, and I'm gonna show you how I took this approach and applied it to building a referral-based business in a minute. And so I want you to remember, slow, consistent action over time will yield higher results at the end than short bursts of energy. Okay, so a couple quick basics, because there were a few people in this room that were still less than 2 years, right? And I bet even some of our people that are less than 5 might not have all these things quite done. So this is the swift kick in the rear that you need to write it down and then forget about it. No, write it down, put it in your calendar, and then go do it. So number 1 is your name, right? What is the business name that you're running with? Your logo, your URL, aka your domain for your website, your email. What's your address? I want to give you guys a pro tip really quickly. People put their house sometimes as their address. Not in this day and age. I would recommend that you go get a UPS mailbox. It's like $250 a year. And then you register your Google business page there. I have gotten, it was like a $900,000 listing off of just having my Google business page up with some good reviews because it was a business address. It happens pretty regularly. So go get a UPS mailbox if you don't have one already. You can link your LLC there. This is not legal advice. You can also put that on your Google business page and everything else too. And I would recommend you do it in an area that you're actively serving in or where you live. Then you're gonna do your brand kit as well as part of the basics, which is what are the fonts I'm using? What are the colors I'm using? There's a lot of bad social media out there. Ours is certainly not perfect. We're going through a rebrand at the moment. But try to find consistency in the stuff that you have. If your social media is all red and then your real estate website is orange, there's not really a lot of consistency. So identify what your brand kit is, find the stuff you like, and then just repeat it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel with every single thing that you're making. The next is a CRM. I joke about this in one of my classes. They say the best CRM is the one that you use. False. The best CRM is Follow Up Boss. In my opinion, some people have liked KV Core. We have ReChat now starting. It really is the one that you use. I just personally find that Follow Up Boss does a lot of the stuff that I want it to, has a lot of the integrations that I want it to run a really successful referral-based business. So put your people in there and put them and tag them. The next is your business pages. Don't sleep on this. Your Instagram, your Facebook, your Google, your Zillow page. I know, but it's good to have one. And also your LinkedIn. Does anybody here have a business page for their LinkedIn, or is it just your main LinkedIn? You have a business page? So these are all things that you could think about creating as well that have helped us a lot. It also helps our SEO. One of my good friends is an SEO specialist, and by having all of these platforms and then posting to them regularly, it's helping your SEO. So we use a software called Sked that posts for us. We make everything. It's not that great, but it posts onto LinkedIn, onto Google, onto all of that stuff for us. So that will make it a little bit easier for you to regularly be posting. Next couple of basics, 2 of these I'm going to guess you might not have right now. One of them that you need to have is a website. I know that sometimes brokerages have little independent agent site websites. That's not helping you online to get clients. That's helping the brokerage. Not saying that's a bad thing. Of course, you just need a page, but I would recommend that you go create your own website and have that too. The next one is a vendor spreadsheet. This is just like one of the basics that as a real estate agent, you should have and offer to your clients to be of service, which is I've got, if that's bothering you, by the way, you can pull that down. Yeah, okay. I just didn't want half your face to be tan. And then you're like, that damn class. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, the vendor spreadsheet. So, your roofer, your sewer contractor, your siding person, whatever, all in a spreadsheet with their names and contact information so that you can keep track. Has anybody here had a really good contractor that they loved for some reason get out of the business? It's the worst.
Or just stop doing good work. Stop responding to clients.
Yep, or you get a complaint from a client, right? Yeah, not fun. So this is ever changing, which is why you need a working document of this to keep you organized. And then you also want to take that same thing and have some sort of prettier, hopefully, format that you can share with your clients. So for us, if any of you follow me on Instagram, great. If you don't, you should, because you'll get little ideas. You can still steal my ideas. That's totally fine. One of the things that I've done since I first got into the business is a buyer binder. And at closing, I provide this binder to my buyers with a pretty picture of the house. That's false. We just redesigned it. Now it's a generic picture of a house. And I created this, and it's basically, here are your inspection documents. Here is a section for you to put HOA documents. Here's a section for you to put tax assessments. Here's a maintenance log. Here's an improvement log. Here are monthly maintenance checklists, seasonal maintenance checklists, all of this stuff in this. And in it, to save myself 1,000,001 text messages, as much as I love hearing from my past clients, here is a list of all of my contractors. And I warn them, this list is ever changing. If you ever want to make sure that that's the person I'm using, hit me up. Or if you want a second quote from somebody, hit me up and I'll give you my new person.
Or please let me know.
If it's shitty work, I need to know immediately. Yeah. Jackie, can you mute yourself? I don't know what just happened. Oh, sorry, Jackie. I can't take online. Like, I can barely hear you. It's muffled. So yeah, just mute. And then I'll give you my email at the end. So write down your question and just email it to me. Sorry. I'm not tech savvy. So okay. All right. So anyways, vendor spreadsheet. The next one is an agent referral spreadsheet. I'm going to talk to you more about this later. This has been a huge source of business for me. And I do not understand why other real estate agents do not do this. Did you guys know that the highest dollar per hour that you can make in this business is by placing a client with another agent in another state, especially if it's the West Coast? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to show you in a second an example of this, of mine. And if you email me with feedback about this class, and I mean actual feedback, not just like, hey, it was good, but like, hey, here were my main takeaways or things that were really helpful, or change your shirt next time, whatever it is, but good feedback, I will send you templates of both of these, okay? Just give me a little bit of time to get back to you guys. So a referral spreadsheet, I'll show you how I built mine. And then the last one is a newsletter. This is going to be a huge part of what we put into our 36 touch plan, our referral plan that we'll talk about, of how to consistently stay in touch with clients. So you're going to need a template for that newsletter, a software to send it out, and then you need your contacts organized enough to be able to send it to them. So this is why we're going in order. Hopefully you can see of how to build this. I believe there is also a supreme newsletter software, MailChimp. Okay, let me show you examples of what these spreadsheets look like. So this first one is the vendor spreadsheet. So we basically, and this is just a snippet of it, right? It's not the whole thing. We listed out all of the different types of contractors that we would want. This is not sexy. You can do this in 2 seconds if you're decent with Excel. The company, the phone number, the email, and it goes all the way down, notes about them, like what areas do they serve or not serve, any other things that we need to know. As an example, like, I don't know about you guys, but we've got a flooring contractor that we send to our higher end clients. We have a flooring contractor that we send to our starter home clients because there is a significant difference in price, right? The out-of-state agent template is the one you guys really should email me about because this will take you a while. I did this during COVID. I had just started in real estate, found out I wasn't allowed to show houses for a couple months, and I was like, fuck. So I made this spreadsheet and started building it out. And what I looked at is what are the major cities across the US by population and broken out by state, created a template, and now we have a list of all of these. Ours is full at this point. It's taken about 2 years to find and connect with agents in these other cities. But now we've got like 100 or so agents that we're regularly marketing to across the country that know if they're sending someone to Denver, I'm the girl. But where this has also helped is you guys have been on our Facebook page before where people have asked, do you have anybody in Phoenix that you really like, right? Or whatever.
Do you do this through Facebook or email?
So the question was, do I do this through Facebook or through email? And you mean, where do I find people?
Where do you keep in touch with them?
Where do I keep in touch with the agents?
Yeah.
We also have them on MailChimp. So we have an agent newsletter that we sent out. We stopped for a brief period of time and we're going to be restarting, but we do that. And then they're also on all of our other communications. So they're also getting my main newsletter every month. We add them on Instagram, which is huge, Instagram and Facebook. And in part of our social media engagement time each week, those are the people that we're interacting with. Yeah, good question. So broken up by state and city, I've already done that research. You might as well just shoot me an email, I'll give you the template. Okay, questions on any of that stuff? Anybody have a good takeaway so far? Or has this been stuff you're like, I know all of this?
All of it.
Okay, you know all of it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I love that, the agent referral thing, because that's such a huge part of it that most people miss.
Yeah.
So that's like a great,
Yeah.
that you do that.
One other thing I want to add, and then I'll take your question, is if, again, you follow me on Instagram, we're like 11 people away from 2,000, so please follow me today. I just want to get there. I got to try to catch up with Kristen. It's never going to happen, but like I'm going to try so hard. In any case, if you follow me, you'll see that I do a little video snippet of our agent referral partners. I do at least one a month. We also highlight them in our newsletter. So we are also finding ways to constantly promote them, which helps us to stay engaged with them and makes them feel love outside of just hey, my name's Chelsea, I'm in Denver, send me people, right?
Chelsea.
Yeah. Sorry, well, hold on, you first, because you had a question.
My question is about the newsletter, so if this is related to what you're talking about
Okay.
now, I was gonna jump back.
Okay.
How are you finding agents in different cities that you deem like great?
Yes. This is one of my trade secrets. There's only a few in my business. This is one of my trade secrets that I will not share. What I would recommend that you do is there's tons of online platforms that may group agents together based off of a category that you identify with or fall into. I'm a lesbian, so if that tells you anything, maybe that's how I find them. But it's like a tight-knit network. We all know each other, right? No, just kidding. I'm kidding. Oh my God, I'm kidding. It's the most annoying comment from straight people. My gay sister got married. Maybe you know her. Yeah, I don't know. I know we're only 9% of the population, but I still think probably not. My God. Anyways, so find some sort of organization that you like or are a part of already, and you'll find agents. I'm always personally looking for something, it's a sweet spot. I'm not trying to find the top producer in a city, because odds are they've already got a great agent in Denver, and they will tell you to your face, yep, don't have anybody. This is trying to two-way relationship, right, is what I'm looking for. So I will also ask, do you have a great partner in Denver? And if they do, hey, full disclosure, I'm looking for somebody who doesn't. So I'm looking for like a mid-level producer because I also don't want somebody new that I'm sending to my people and then they have a bad experience. So homes.com is really helpful to look at people's production levels. Zillow and Google really helpful to look at people's reviews. So I would say in general, if you have a group that you can find people through that narrows it down, great. Otherwise, I would just go do a lot of research online, on Instagram or whatever, find a few names, and then do what I just told you to look at production versus quality. Is that helpful? Okay. Yeah.
You keep saying we, and maybe you mentioned this in the beginning, but what is we made of?
Meaning,
Like your team, is it a team?
I just got this question from Caroline. It's so funny. Apparently, I speak in group terms. And it's for me and all of my multiple personalities because we are over here. I don't have a team. It is me and my assistant, Kylie. She's over here. She's the best, by the way. I stole her out of PT. She's amazing. So usually when I say we, I'm thinking about us as a cohesive, but it's just me in here. I don't know.
Stole her out of where, Chelsea?
What was that?
Stole her out of where?
Stole her out of where?
Physical therapy.
Oh, physical therapy, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a knee surgery and she was my physical therapist and I was like, hey, you want to get out of here? And she's like, she said, yeah, actually. What was your question, Brandon?
My question was related to your newsletter. So
Yeah.
my newsletter and my database have been off and on, like, for my entire career. And a lot of times it's one of the things where my database is big enough now that if I don't feel like it's like the shit, which it never really quite feels like it is, I don't know how to go about, like, do I just turn it on for everybody? Do I call everyone and say, do you want this? Right? Like, it's kind of one of those things. Yours is really good. Like, I would actually
thanks.
feel a little bit more comfortable, like, just tossing it out there on people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I keep telling myself, call everyone and ask them if they want the newsletter, and then I don't complete that task.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to go about it. I don't. Basically, when anybody emails me, so if you guys email me Facebook or feedback, unfortunately, you are going to start getting our newsletter, which I think is a good thing. You can see what we're doing. But our software, as soon as I get an email from anybody, they are put into MailChimp and they start getting emails.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the agents on the other side of the deals also get to see my face a lot after the fact. And a lot of them compliment it, so it's cool. So I just send it to everybody personally. The thing I would encourage you to think about to get back to is that consistency equals closings. And it doesn't matter what I'm talking about today. If you don't do it consistently, no shit, you're not gonna get results, right? If you do it consistently over time and you do it well, you're going to get results. And the example I would use for that is my classes. I teach these little home buying classes. You're welcome to go do them. People never have the same results as I do, so I want to put a disclaimer on that. I use it as a pipeline tool, not necessarily as a way to get people from the public, because this gives me an event to constantly be sending people to. Oh, you're a first-time buyer, let's have a consultation. Hey, by the way, I've got a home buying class in a few weeks. You should totally come. Right? So it's a pipeline tool. Shit, where was I going with this? This is so important for what you're...
Tonight, right?
Yeah.
Oh, consistency.
Do you do them at the same
Oh,
time?
consistency. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. What a lot of people do when they do these seminars is they'll go do one of these classes and they'll say it didn't work. Or they'll do 2 or 3 of these classes. Oh, the attendance started to go down. Yeah. You think it's fun for me tonight at 5:30 p.m. to get onto a Zoom and have 2 people show up? No, it's not fun. But you know what? It works over time. And sometimes I have 10 people show up. Sometimes it's 3. Sometimes it's me chilling. I'm like, thank God I did not want to teach this tonight. And I, peace out. But it's consistency. So I'd say just be consistent. Yeah. And also, it doesn't need to look beautiful.
I'm just going to dump it on everybody.
Dump it.
You start getting mine.
Dump it.
That's fine. It's because you told me.
Dump it. Yeah. Any other questions before we keep rocking?
How many hours do you know how many hours you work on your business a week versus in it?
Well, luckily I have a full-time assistant, so my numbers right now are going to look real different. So Kylie works 40 hours a week, sometimes more, in the business, or on the business, excuse me, and most of what I'm doing is in the business at this point. Yeah. So maybe, you give me assigned tasks, catch-up time, and follow-up boss, and this, that, and some different things, like maybe 5 to 10 hours a week. Yeah. But what happened was my first year I did 7 million, my second I did 17, and my third year I did 25. And it was at the 25 million year that I was like, I should probably hire a TC.
Yeah.
right? I was doing all this shit that I'm going to show you in a minute. No TC, no assistant, no anything. And that was stupid. And so then I was forced to. I was like, no, I have 40 hours of work that somebody else can literally do right now. So that's, yeah, there's Kylie. All right. We're going to keep rocking. So what I want to remind you of is slow and steady. Okay, so regardless of where you're at right now, go back to any one of these steps that you have skipped, which is make your business plan. Write out your list of to-dos from that business plan. There's always going to be projects because you're going to get excited and you're trying to push yourself. What are these projects? Prioritize that list of projects. What should I do first? Figure out a cadence for those projects. So, okay, I'm going to do 1 a month or 2 a month or 1 a week, whatever it is. And then you guessed it, put it in your calendar. I learned this thing back when I was running the painting company. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I have a question. If you don't have an assistant, what is an easy way to think of things that you can, say, email to out-of-state agents or everyone?
Yeah.
Something just easy that
Yeah.
you could get.
So the question was, hey, if you don't have an assistant, how can you still easily and quickly hit your database, right? Well, interestingly enough, that is how I built it because I didn't have an assistant when I started doing this. And then the referrals just started pouring in. So I was operating under the impression of I need to hit as many people at once with low effort, which is why I just told Brandon, just send your damn newsletter. Send it to the 5,000 people because it's an easy thing that you can do that hits everybody. So I personally would say start with the newsletter because that's one of the easiest things that you can do to stay in touch with people regularly. And then you can start to add in other stuff. So newsletter would be my advice.
So how do you create one quickly and easily? They're usually lengthy.
So the question was, how do you create a newsletter quickly and easily? On MailChimp, they have really awesome templates. I will also tell you, I have found that a lot of real estate agents that I've coached are terrible with tech. That is fine. Hire somebody to help you. Just hire somebody to help you get it done because at the end of the day, you still need to do it, right?
Your castle one.
You could also start with the Your Castle one. That's a really good point.
You don't know how to do it or not.
Yeah. I didn't think of that because that's not the route that I went. Sorry. Did you have a question?
No, I was gonna say your
Okay.
your castle.
So I just want to like put this little tidbit in for you guys quickly, which is I learned this back when I was starting the painting business. I had to learn how to paint houses before I could teach other people how to paint houses, and then to teach them, how to estimate houses, I needed to know how long things were going to take. So this was fun. So I was 19, I was getting to learn how to paint homes, and what they taught us was be systematic. That was the word, and I swear to God, at the end of that franchise, if I heard the word systematic one more time, I was going to burn it down. But man, has it helped. And when I think about systematic and I think about painting an interior room, we'll take this room as an example, the method was top to bottom, left to right. We're always going to go top to bottom, left to right. So when we think about this room, if we were to paint this room, the first thing that you're going to paint is the ceiling. Why?
It'll drip.
Yeah, because it's going to drip down. So you don't want to paint the walls first and then go back and paint the ceiling and then it gets on your walls. So you obviously start with the ceiling first. Maybe it wasn't obvious, but you start with the ceiling first. And then the second thing that you do is you're going to go cut in the walls. If you guys are lame and you use tape, that's fine. I had to learn how to freehand. So you go in and you trace the edges basically, right? It's like coloring something that you go trace the edges and then you color in the middle. It's the same with walls. You go cut all of it in, but if I were gonna cut in this wall, I'm gonna start in the top left corner. I'm gonna go across the top and then I'm gonna go back left and continue working my way down across anything there so that by the time I get from this corner to this corner, the wall is done and I know I have not missed anything. And then I go to the next wall and the next wall, and then we finish with the trim, and same thing, left to right, top to bottom. And that method, it like ingrained this ability to be methodical in me that I wish I could just like give to people, but it's something that you're going to have to train yourself to do. And it's so easy to get distracted by the 1,000,001 things that you could possibly go work on in real estate and do and this and that, whatever, but I want to encourage you, be methodical. Think about where am I headed and what are the things that make sense in order to do. And I'll show you in a little bit kind of like what my first 6 months were. Hopefully you could just repeat that system, but be systematic and be methodical so that as you're going, you're building momentum. You're not having to jump back and do things. Questions? Sweet. So my first 6 months in real estate looked something like this. This was January of 2020. I sold my painting company in December of 2019, said, oh my God, I've got to go make money. So I started January of 2020. I started with a name, a logo, my brand kit, etc. All of the things that I needed in order to have a business, my address, what phone number was I using, my domain, etc. Then month 2, I built out my website and my CRM. And of course, when I say I built out my CRM, I put all the contacts into there too. I didn't just sign up. At that time, I was using Lion Desk. The third was I scheduled out the events that I wanted to have that year, which for me were little home buyer seminars. I'll give you some ideas later of all of these different events that you guys could do instead. But I just wanted something on an ongoing basis to constantly be inviting people to so that I could stay in front of them. So I scheduled my events for the year. The fourth was I decided that I was going to do a small business spotlight in my newsletter every month. We do that to this day. So it forced me to go find a small business, interview them, write a blog, which I could then post on my website that I had just created. And then I would be eventually able to feature this in my newsletter. But it forced me to go talk to a local business owner, talk to them about real estate, build a relationship, and add them to my CRM. So many birds killed with one stone. That's such a bad analogy. The visual. Sometimes I say these sayings now and I visualize it and I'm like, why do people say that? So that's one. So anyways, the next was an out-of-state agent partner. So as I mentioned, I started that spreadsheet and it would have been around like April or May of 2020 that we couldn't show houses. I was like, shit, I need to start working with out-of-state agents and build that out because I can't show homes right now. So I found an out-of-state agent partner. We do a little call/interview with them. We add them to our spreadsheet. We add them on Instagram. We add them to Facebook. We put them on our newsletter. We highlight them in our newsletter. We let them know that's something that we're going to do for them, which is really enticing, etc. And by the way, when I started with the business spotlight, that was the start of me doing that activity moving forward every month. And then I layered in with the agent partner. Okay, now every month I'm doing a business spotlight, I'm doing some sort of an event, but I'm also gonna spotlight an out-of-state agent. And then I got to put it all together, which was in month 6, I created my first newsletter that I sent out to my database. And if you get my newsletter, this is what it has in it to this day, is the same shit. Okay, so that's just an idea of a plan that could work. If I went in order so that I could build something that's sweet. Now every month, honestly, the reason I started the newsletter was to hold myself accountable. Because I knew once I started sending it, I was never gonna stop sending it because the optics of that, I just could not. I'm always gonna send it. And if I have to send a newsletter, I'm always going to be forced to talk to an out-of-state agent each month, to spotlight a small business, to put closings in there, which forces me to produce. It's this whole thing. It was an accountability system for myself.
Send out the newsletter electronically, hard copy, everything, both?
I send mine via MailChimp.
Okay, so no hard copies?
I don't send hard copies. I don't know if anybody else has done that, but I'm not the expert to talk to about that.
I think it depends on your age.
Probably.
Of the client.
Yeah.
So younger people are not going to mail things out, and older people, older database are probably want to receive it in mail. So I think you have to tailor it to who your people are.
Let us continue if you guys feel ready. Now we're going to get into the real referral part. Hopefully you see some of the value though in talking about the framework of why you need these things in place in order to keep yourself organized to then go do these things. So the ongoing activities, this is basically going to get into my business plan here in a second. I'm going to show you all of the touches that I do every single year. First, I got to explain what the hell a touch is and that sort of thing, and then I'll show you what it is that I do. Has anybody heard of the 36 touch plan? I know there's a Keller Williams trader in the room. No, just kidding. So 36 touch plan, so a couple of people. And honestly, like Keller goes back and forth. It's either some are 36, some are 33, whatever. In short, we'll just call it a 36 touch plan. So what the heck is this? I started out at Keller Williams when I first got licensed. I was there for about 3 months or so and then left, but I was so glad that I got this while I was there because it's amazing and we should hear it more in our industry. So first things first, what the heck is a touch? In order to talk about this, a touch is basically any interaction between you and a client. A phone call, a text message, an in-person conversation. I personally do not count social media as a touch, and I want to kind of be distinct about this. The reason why is if you put a post on your page, did every single one of your clients see it? No. And you don't really actually know who saw it because people see it, but they don't engage with it. So that's why I don't count that as a touch. I personally, social media is not a strategy for me to get clients. It is a credibility and a way to stay in front of people. Now, this would be different than if you took 20 minutes in your schedule every day and you went on to social and you actively engaged with specific people that you were trying to have a touch with. That's a touch, right? Let me comment on, not just a like, but let me comment on this person's post or photo or whatever. That is then a touch. There's some different methodology out there around how much each person is quote unquote worth in your database. The way that Keller Williams teaches it is that for each person in your database that you do a 36 touch with, they are equal to 1,000 doll hairs, better known as dollars. Yeah, doll hairs. It's my favorite thing to drop that at like a luxury listing. Like, I think we can sell for 1 million doll hairs, you know? Did she just say doll hairs? Yeah. Anyways, the Impact team, by the way, they teach this awesome Ascent training. Has anybody here been to that? I go every time I can because I always get great nuggets. So they taught at the most recent one, I saw this, that they've changed this to 2,000. And I was sitting there and reflecting on that. And I think that that's probably a little bit more accurate. But I would say maybe split the difference just for funsies and say 1,500. I like to be extremely hard on myself and always plan for the worst. So I go pessimistic to make sure that I exceed the goal, which is why I personally am still comfortable using $1,000 per person. But in theory, for every person that you do a 36 touch with, that will bring $1,000 to you. So who's got a GCI goal this year that they know right away?
What is it? You know it.
You tell me. You tell the class. 200. You got to own it. 200K. 200K. All right, so 200K in GCI means that Devin needs 200 people in her database that she is doing a 36 touch with. And over the course of 1 year, if she's doing this effectively, in theory, she will close 200K in GCI. That just formula alone changed the way that I thought about this business when I first started of, oh, I can assign numbers to these things. Not numbers to like people and relationships, but the number of contacts that I'm having, right, and how I'm doing it. So as an example, you want 300K, you need 300, and this is important, full and tagged contacts in your CRM. Because what I'm going to show you is you are emailing them, you are calling them, you are texting them, but you are also mailing to them. So you need their mailing address. We are in the business of houses, so it would be a really good thing too to know where they live.
Frequency, how often?
How often? What's the cadence? Give me 2 minutes and I will show you. Yeah, no, I love it. That's important. So 300 full, complete tagged people. And to me, what that means is name, phone number, email, mailing address. One of the questions I often get from my coaching clients and from other agents that I've worked with is, well, who do I count and who do I not count, okay? You need to use the lens. Is this somebody that's going to refer business to me? Or to use me? Are they one of those two things? If so, put them in, right? I know that my mom in Ohio would love to send me clients in Denver, but the girl doesn't know a soul in Denver. So I'm not gonna count her towards my 300 or whatever it is. I'm still gonna market to her in a lot of the same ways, but it's not my 300 that I'm counting on, if that makes sense. Okay. This is my 52 touch plan. And the only reason it's so high is because I added in HomeBot, which you certainly do not need to, or you could take one of these out. But let me show you mine. So I like to hit people in different mediums. So email, phone, text, in person, call, mail, in different ways, because man, 52, if you do the math, is 1 a week that these people are hearing from me. Could you imagine getting 52 phone calls from me?
How many people do you do that to?
Quite a few. We have a core group of 500, but we send this to a lot. Yeah. So 12 newsletters is number one. That's the one that I started with when I first began in my business, and that's the one I'd recommend that you start with too, because it forces you to do all of this other shit in your business that you need to do. That's why I think it's great, is it's accountability for you. The next one is then I added in HomeBot. So once I have their address, I know where they live, I can put them into HomeBot. Does everybody know what HomeBot is? Does anybody not know what HomeBot is? Okay, yes, because we're new. Okay, HomeBot is basically a software that if you put in somebody's address, it will email them on a monthly basis what it believes their value of their home is. And then it has all these other fun little tools in there that they can play with. And it's fun. It'll be like, hey, do you want to refinance? What could that look like? And it will cue them off of things that have gone on in their neighborhood, etc. What I love about HomeBot, if you're not using it this way, by the way, is that you get this like weekly insight report from HomeBot. Does anybody look at that? Yeah. Game changer. It is super accurate that when I see that a client has had 10 activities that month, meaning they've clicked around and they're doing shit, they're thinking about something real estate related, that's a perfect person for me to call that week. So use those insights. So it's a great software. You can have a lender help pay for it. I think it's like $25 a month. Yeah, it's one of the many.
Add a lender, 25 partner.
Yeah, so get a lender partner. Adam.
You can also embed YouTube links.
Wait. Adam is what I would call, I'm going to call you a HomeBot expert because you have used HomeBot to like sincerely get clients. Could you just share with the class for 30 seconds, like some things you do?
I mean, I've just bought a lot of data over the years, so I have names, numbers, and email addresses. I got here 4 years ago, so I knew I had to do something different. So I added people cold, been marketing to them for years through HomeBot. And, I've gotten, a handful, eight or so, 8, 10 in the last couple years. So it works. It's a long-term strategy, but it's definitely worth the monthly spend.
Yeah. So for the people that are online, basically Adam bought a bunch of data and put this into HomeBot and is now letting HomeBot do all of the work for him for the most part, right? And it's sending them these digests and then they call him. And I've had this happen too with some cold leads where they email you and say, I want a CMA. Can I get a CMA? Oh, you need a valuation? I'd love to come see your house and have this conversation with you and see if it makes sense for you to sell. Yeah. Okay. So there's HomeBot. The next one is Boomerang. Does anybody not know what Boomerang is? Same people. New. Yeah, this is great. So Boomerang is a postcard that you can have sent to clients' houses on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, I believe was the cadence last time I looked. I send it monthly, and it will have some sort of local offering for them. So it'll say, okay, in this little area of Arvada, here's a local business, and we're going to do a buy one, get one pizza at this pizza shop. Or we're going to do a free I don't know, Illegal Pete's was one of them recently. We'll give a free burrito bowl for every burrito bowl that you purchase with a limit of 1 or whatever it is. So it sends them a local kind of deal to their neighborhood. What I like about Boomerang is that it's mailed. So it's an easy way to get something mailed to people so that you're breaking up the medium with them.
And it's like, it caters to their area too.
Yeah.
So like,
Yep.
okay, so it's not the same one being mailed to like Aurora. And then
Where they have no Illegal Pete's. Yeah, no, it's specific.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you also send the like new like stats, like data that they have now?
I don't. I know that some people do. I personally do not.
I wouldn't. I don't know.
Brandon says no.
I talked to the company quite a bit about that product, and if you think that they're really market driven, I think it's easier to send them actual homes in their neighborhood that they want to see the inside of, rather than the stats that, you know what I mean, something like HomeBot could do better.
So the question for the online people was, do you send the stats that Boomerang offers? I said no. Brandon also said don't do it. Okay.
Do you send boomerangs to out-of-state people?
I just do in-state people. The question was, do you send it out of state? I just do in-state because that's where my core, yeah.
Is it branded with your photo and stuff?
Yes. So it is branded with your photo, and this is another one that you can partner with people, right? So I partner with my insurance agent because I've got a lender paying for HomeBot, so I partner with my insurance agent, and that's the only thing I ask of her all year. She gets all of our referrals is split the Boomerang cost with me. And then her picture's on there too. Yeah. Good? Okay, the next one is a holiday card. This is one of my personal favorites. That is what that ridiculous photo is. This year we did a 90s JCPenney style photo shoot. There's like 50 photos, they're ridiculous. And anyways, we send it out around the holidays and we get a ton of engagement from this, right? Because it's something personal, it's me and my wife, it's also funny. You don't have to be funny because maybe you're not funny and that's okay. It'd be better if you didn't try to be funny and just send something that's you, but send a holiday card. So that's something that we do. We also send a house anniversary packet. I put card, that's a lie. Do you guys use RPR on RE Colorado? So I'll print out an RPR report and send that on the anniversary month of whatever month it is that my client bought that property. And it's a packet. So like you're spending some costs for some printing and some mailing. But I send this in a manila envelope so it doesn't get lost. And I put a letter on the front of it that says, hey, it's been another year since you purchased your place. If we haven't done an updated valuation recently, let's do that so that you're in touch with what's going on with the market. Here's a little bit of a market update, blah, blah, blah. And then they get that each month, every year.
Each month?
No, like the anniversary month. My words are...
I know people who do that quickly, and I have found RPR is often very wrong on their values.
So I don't do the valuation. I do the neighborhood report.
Okay.
I'm really iffy about sending valuations as a whole. HomeBot's the only one I do that with, and I will tell you, I tell my clients at closing, it's part of my little spiel, I go through my buyer binder and I say, hey, here are some of the ways you're gonna start to hear from me so that they're not like, holy shit, 52 times a year, right? And one of them I say is HomeBot, and it's meant to be a tool for you, but if you ever disagree with that value, and I always do, then just ask me and I'll give you a valuation. Yeah.
A lot of those AVM companies are built in California where all the tech stuff is, where they don't count below grade square footage. So a lot of those
They're
are
jacked.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, always double check.
Yeah, so I don't like, so again, and even when I send out the HomeBot, I put a disclaimer. This is probably wrong, but it's for your information.
So, for the anniversary stuff, I have a thing that I have not done that for my previous clients. Do you think it would be weird to start doing it since you haven't done it
No,
before?
it's great. And it's also a way to get in touch with them. You give them a call or a text, hey, I found this new software, or I've been using this software, I realized you weren't on it, I think it's awesome. Send them a tidbit about it, or call them up and then put them on it. Yeah. Reasons to reach out to people, it's a good thing. All right, let's keep rocking. 2 check-ins per year, so every 6 months. It's very likely that I have already talked to my clients in that amount of time. I am on a pretty frequent communication basis with my people because I set that expectation at closing. And I tell them, listen, you're gonna be a little bit lower on the totem pole because my active clients I'm always having to get to first. I'll get back to you within a reasonable amount of time. But I tell them, I'll be offended if I don't hear from you. Like, I want to hear from you. You have a question, whatever, don't do that whole Chelsea's busy, I don't wanna bother her bullshit. Reach out, please reach out. But then I do formal 2 check-ins per year. So I text them or call them, or I set up an in-person meeting. Like last night I went to the driving range with one of my past clients. Great. So 2 of those per year. We do pop buys, we do 2 per year. The reason I put that this is 6 touches is because it's not just the pop buy, right? For us, it's, hey, we're gonna be dropping off a little surprise on this week. Could you let us know where you want us to put that package if you're not gonna be home? The week before, hey, we're coming by again on this date. Let us know if you're gonna be home or if you haven't sent us where you want us to put the package, blah, blah, blah. There's this anticipation. People always respond of, ooh, I can't wait to see it, blah, blah. And then there's the actual pop-by itself where you go and you drop it off. So that's 3 touches each time. We do that twice per year. And then 2 client events per year. I used to do 4. And then we realized we were just having the same people come every time, and our average cost for an event is about $1,500. And so I was like, I'd rather spend that extra $3K on something else that's more valuable. So we just do 2 per year now. I wanna give you tips on these events because we have a lot of fun with these, is make it you. Make it you. So we do like drag bingo, and that's one of our big ones, and we have a ton of fun with that. We give out inappropriate cakes as gifts, and like it's wild, but that's my sphere, right? Like those are the people I'm working with, and so they love that. So find something that would appeal to your clients and that you like.
Are you doing Popeyes to all of your old clients?
Yes. Well, I'm not.
How many?
What kind of gifts?
How many days are you doing that?
I'd say right now it's about what, like 2.5 days of driving. So we've been breaking it up.
Full days.
Full days. So we've been breaking it up into sections of town, and then we'll basically do a half day, just because that's too much on her car, we realized as well. So we break it up into half days. So you're just going to one area, doing a half day, knocking them out. Yeah. You're at the production that you should get an assistant also. Like, and I know that people are all about the VAs and stuff, but there is a lot of value to having somebody in person for this type of stuff too, or find an agent that's willing to do that. That was probably more than you wanted, but I'm throwing it out there. Yeah.
What are you driving on?
What are our ideas? Yeah, what are our things? Kylie, what was our last one? Oh yeah, one of our lenders, she is like a warm hug, has her own beehives and makes her own honey. And so, yeah, we had her do these little honey jars. She did them for free, filled them up, and then we printed out a little card, the benefits of honey. And then what was our cheesy,
Your referrals.
or as sweet as honey, like some stupid shit. Thanks for being great clients. Your referrals are sweet as honey. Yeah, but people love it. They do, they love it. And it's, you know, it's not like totally in line with my personality, but it's cute and they like the touch. So, yeah.
So with those, do you actually like knock on the door and see if you can catch people? Or
Yeah.
because I find like my clients hate that.
Yeah.
Like, why are you here?
Well, this is why we've notified them twice that we will be coming. So if somebody's like, I've got a sleeping baby, please don't knock. Or like, yeah, totally, of course. Happy to not.
Tyler's talking to the client for you.
Yeah. She's equipped to do so. Yeah. Yeah, she is. What's hilarious is like Kylie TCs all of our deals. Like Kylie is oftentimes more in contact with my clients than I am.
Oh, so the clients recognize me.
Yeah. Kylie, oh, and they get so excited because they finally get to meet her in person from all these emails. So.
During COVID and no one was coming in or out of my house, I set up a 6-foot table in my living room and I had a Popeye, I call it the Popeye station.
Yeah.
And I bought, you know those red and white popcorn, like square things. I got them off of Amazon and I went to Costco and I got popcorn, microwave popcorn and some Milano mint, or, you know, cookies and blah, blah, blah. And I would just go boom, 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 boom. I had marketing make a little square, you know, I just popped by to say hello or cheesy.
Yeah.
And I taped it onto the damn thing and I put a box and I would drive around.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to cost that much and you don't have to like have a lender, but like just go get something.
Yes.
Drop it off. Friends who work here who are Greek, they do Greek olive oil because that's more, like
Yeah.
whatever is your personality,
Yeah.
you can do it.
So to our people online, we just got some good ideas, but basically the sentiment was you can do it cheaply, you can do it easily. It doesn't have to be a huge production, and you can do it on your own time too. I remember this is why I had to hire an assistant because I literally reached the point I could not physically go do pop buys anymore, but I still wanted to be touching people in that way, so I leveraged.
I did the same thing. I make people come to me.
Yeah.
Selfishly, but I also had a new baby, so everyone wanted to see it.
Yeah.
So if you have
Use your child and people will come to you and pick up.
And this kid needs to eat.
Yeah.
I've been using my child.
Yeah.
Literally every weekend in my house, all my clients are there. Like every weekend just to come and meet her. I have a spare bedroom and it's almost full of diapers and wipes. So anybody pregnant, like I have diapers and wipes
Yeah.
for 2 years.
We just talked more about how to exploit your children. So, okay. All right. So moving on. So I have more ideas for you guys in case any of those didn't resonate with you, just other things that you can do, or I know that other agents have done. Some of these I have done. Birthday cards is a good one. There's just a really big time investment up front. You got to get all your people figured out. You got to go into Facebook for each one of these people, which could be good if you haven't added your people on Facebook. A good way to kill two. That freaking, oh my God, no stones. Just how to be, so how to be more efficient, we will say, is you go on.
I ask the lender, every time I do a thing, I ask the lender if you can give me just the birth date of my person.
Oh, cool. Okay, so this was a really good tip is you can ask the lender, can't give any other personal information, but just give me the day and month of the birthday. I don't need the year. So that's an interesting thing. But I would use this if you haven't added your clients on social. This is an excuse to do so. Add them, find their birthday, put it in your calendar, blah, blah, blah. You can send a birthday card.
Just a little thought that I just found. Cheryl's Cookies will send one happy birthday cookie, and it's about $9 to
Okay.
mail it and everything. those to some clients I hadn't heard from in years. And I'm on their Facebook friend now, and they're calling me, and
Cute.
it's just a really nice surprise.
Yeah. To the people online, take a look at Cheryl's Cookies. If you don't know Cheryl's Cookies, they're from Columbus, Ohio, which is where I am from. I heard some tea, by the way. Cheryl is no longer involved in the business. Cheryl is running another baking business, so just drop that. Okay, other things. Quarterly phone calls, really good. In-person meetings. I'm a big fan of this. If I haven't seen somebody in a while, I have a client that really likes the Avs. Sweet, let's get some Avs tickets. Let's go to a game. That's something I like to do too. So in-person stuff. Charity or recycling events. I don't do enough charity, and I want to. A lot of agents do this really well, of like, let's do a toy drive or let's do whatever. And again, your clients come, they drop stuff off. That feels good, warm and fuzzy. Recycling events is something that a lot of agents have had success with too. So here's an electronic recycling station. Come bring your old computers and let's get rid of them. A shredding day. There's all sorts of stuff depending on your client's demographic. Giveaways are a fun thing. I'm giving away an iPad. Call in and tell me how many jelly beans are in the jar or whatever in the hell. You can do some sort of giveaway. Handwritten notes are also really impactful. If you're at the volume that you can still do that, do that. That's huge. I think my clients only now see Kylie's handwriting, but luckily it's a lot better than mine, so it's a good thing. Gifts. People have babies, they get married, whatever, send gifts to them. More ideas. Help people contest their taxes. This is going on right now. I put a video up on social. We typically block out a few days in my calendar for me to be able to do this. I had like 45 to 60 clients 2 years ago reach out and ask me to do this. So I had to do like 45 to 60 freaking CMAs. Woof!
Oh.
Write a letter, but I helped them contest, and we won in over 50% of those cases. Do you think those are going to be clients that are going to call me back? Abso-freaking-lutely they are. So this is something we're doing right now. June 8th is typically the deadline to respond. So if you've not reached out to your people, do it yesterday. This is something that you can do.
Are you actually contesting the value for them, or are you just giving them comps and telling them good luck?
So I actually prepare a CMA packet and also a letter, and then I adjust it, and you can reach out, I can give you this template too, but I adjust it to their property and put a nice little, like, it's not fucking worth that, but professional kind of a thing of like, this is why you should reevaluate. And sometimes these are people that would have just purchased that had recent appraisals, so I'll also dig up that appraisal, include it, and then I don't have to do the CMA, because you don't need to take my word for it. Here's a licensed appraiser, this was that date, no way in hell is that accurate. And then also Lon sent out an email to the whole company after I asked him this question, which was, could you provide some appreciation data? Because like on one of my properties, it said it went up $71,000 in value in the last 2 years. No, it didn't. And I just wanted general, what's the average rate of appreciation across the Denver metro? He sent those stats out, you have them that you could include and say, no way is this feasible, here's the average, and you're suggesting we're at 12% annually or whatever.
I'm using the price change map.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
Mine went up, they assessed it 15.5%.
Yep.
The average was 7%.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled all comps, and guess what?
You're wrong.
7%, it's the number exactly.
Yeah.
You're only contesting ones that have gone up significantly. You're not contesting the lower ones, or are you?
I contest all day, all the time, because that's my attitude. But if it's gone down, we're not contesting. I literally tell my clients, I'm like, go take a shot and say a prayer for the rest of us. That's what I tell them. Like, amen, because if they start, like, why would you contest that? It's gone down. And then also, if they start sniffing around, they might realize that it shouldn't have gone down. So, okay, maintenance information is another one. So the first year after somebody has closed, we send out an email to those people quarterly saying, hey, it's your first spring in the house. Here's some tips. I know it was in the binder, but you probably forgot about the binder. So here's the things that I want you to remember to do this spring on your house. And then same thing, fall, winter, whatever. Informative videos and blogs. This is timely information, but these are other touches that you can have with people depending on your database. There was that ADU bill that passed. You can build an ADU. Solar information is one because it's the bane of my existence. The NAR settlement that came out, people probably had questions. Any relevant news, anything that comes out that you feel like this is something that I should talk to my database about, think about how to touch them with that.
Do you ever just send a text with a video? Sorry, I didn't understand.
No, you're good. Did I send a text with a video?
Like, do you ever do like a video text and then like just mass send it?
No, but it's a good idea because then they see your face. I'm an audio message girl. Yeah. Okay, so what I want you guys to think about, I've just given you all of these different ideas, right? And you know that you want to put in a 36 touch. Well, 36 divided by 12 is, good, 3, good, 3. That means 3 touches per month. So when I started building this out, I'm like, well, how can I do this on a monthly basis? Well, one, I'm going to send out a monthly newsletter. That's 12 touches. What's my second touch going to be every month? Boomerang. Easy. So just by doing the newsletter and by doing Boomerang, bam, you've got 24 touches. So again, be methodical, be smart about how you're going about this. I know the client event is fun, a lot more work, and it's a one-time hit.
Wait, how'd you get 24 touches?
So if we do newsletter each month, that's 12. If we do Boomerang each month, that's 12. And then we'll add in the extra. So what I want to show you what this would kind of look like, just as an example, is if you wanted to do a giveaway, sweet, you do that in January. If you want to do a pop by in March, you're probably going to tell people, hopefully, that you're coming by in February. That's a touch. If you're going to go do a client event in June, you're going to send the initial invite. You're going to send an RSVP reminder, and then you're going to have the event. Fun thing, unlike pop buys, where you know that everybody got your gift, not everybody comes to the client event. So what we like to do is we hire a photographer, my wife. She takes pictures, and then we send it out to people and say, hey, we missed you. Hope you can come to the next one if you weren't there. Little FOMO, you know. No. But I'd encourage you to take this and map it out. When are you going to do things throughout the entire year? And then
Put it in your calendar.
yes, Devin. To our online people, put it in your calendar. Yes, put it in your calendar. So now you've mapped out your whole year, what you're going to do and when. And then it's the really fun part that you just got to stick to your calendar. If you don't know how to do that, come to the other 2 classes. So what if you don't have enough contacts? Because this happens, especially with our new people, we need to get to 200 or 300. I've only got 75. If you don't have enough contacts, you should go get more. Here's some recommended activities to do so. So this right here is what I coached my team to do every week. And this was how they successfully built their businesses, because these were brand new agents. They didn't have a database. They also needed to learn how to be consistent, yada, yada, yada. These are the activities. So if you need contacts, here's some of the ways that you could do it or stay in touch with people. One is 2 open houses per month. You can change this to whatever number you want. But open houses are a great way to meet people if you get their contact information. And if you don't, that could be a huge waste of your time, right? You're not only not getting clients, you're also not getting people to add to your database. Do some sort of event. I'm going to pick on Kenna for a second. Kenna does these public-facing events. You did one recently, Easter?
Yeah. So I do an Easter egg hunt, and I advertise it out to my clients, and I rent out a space. We provide the bunny, they can take photos with the bunny, and they get all the eggs and then the prizes. But we open it up to my clients, and then once that window has shut off for the clients, then I open it up to the public.
Yeah, cool. And how many people, roughly, did you have?
We had about 100 this year.
Yeah. So she did an Easter event, Easter bunny, photos, kids, you get it, and they had about 100 people there.
What date did you do it on?
I did it this Saturday before Easter, because Easter Sunday, people are hanging with their families, they're going to church, they're doing all those things, so I always do it the Saturday before.
Okay.
So like Saturday and then Easter Sunday?
Correct, yeah.
A week before.
Cool. So just some sort of an event, right? And I know Kristen Anderson in the back here is super creative with this stuff. You've held down coffee shops and bought coffees for people, all sorts. So you can get creative and do different things, but do some sort of an event. And that way you always have something to invite people to. So it's also a talking point. Vendor meetings. This is a fun one. Vendor meetings are what I call sitting down with a vendor, so a roofer or a painter or whatever it is, and getting to know them and their business, because I am sure as shit not going to refer you if I have not sat down, looked in your eye, told you what I expect, and vice versa, and I believe that you're going to execute on what we've done or what we've talked about. And then I always use myself as a guinea pig. I have this person do some sort of project on one of my rentals, and I find out real fast if I'm going to be referring them or not. But sit down with these vendors and vet them out. Don't just go get somebody's contact info from wherever, because we're trying to build relationships. The second one that I'd recommend that you do, so one is roofer or whatever. When I put the 2 vendor meetings per week, I look at one as a roofer. The other one should almost always be an out-of-state agent. If you went through and did this, you'd have 50 filled out in that spreadsheet by the end of the year.
When you're recommending vendors, are you recommending
No, this is my person. This is my person. Find another on Angie's list or Craigslist and get one from a friend, and there are your 3. But this is the person I know.
Do you apply that to lenders?
I do give 3 lenders, yeah.
If you can find 3 good contractors for any given trade, please, dear God, share.
Honestly, just start a business doing that.
Yeah.
You could be the next Thumbtack or Home Advisor. Okay, I'm gonna keep rocking just for the sake of time. The next is strategic hangouts. So I try to hang out with 2 of my clients or past clients every single week. And then I'm cycling through. That means I get to hang out with 104 people typically throughout the year. So I'm seeing people in person and again, trying to do stuff they like. Social posts, this is another way to get to meet people. Try to hold yourself to a standard of 3 to 5. And then just in general, if you do all of these above activities, you're gonna have 5 to 10 to add to your CRM each week. All right, and then put it all on your calendar, don't forget, okay. Okay, so now we're on to the final part. So I used to play soccer, right? And we use this term in soccer called finesse. So anybody can come and just kick a ball at a net, but there's a goalie there. That was me. And so you want to have some finesse as to where you're actually going to place that shot to get it past the goalie. And the key is upper 90, right? That's what we want to do in soccer, hit an upper 90 shot. So I'm going to talk to you now about the finesse, some of the things of how to ask for referrals, who to ask for referrals, how to get referrals, et cetera, in this last little bit. So I apologize it took so long to get here, but we had to get through this framework, in my opinion, for this to stick. Because now you're doing all these activities consistently. You've got a badass business in place, and now you're actually going to be able to have a machine if you do these things as well. So we're going to go through each of these. So let's go for the ask for what you want. If you were at the company meeting, I'm sorry, you've heard this story already. I was 20 years old. I walked into a class on entrepreneurship, and this guy was standing at the front, Walt, and he set a syllabus down in front of each of us. He said, hey, give it a read. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to ask you guys a question. All right, we flip through, cool. And then he says, okay, is there anything that anybody would like to change? And my classmates are like, what? Confused. I see opportunity, I strike. He says, yes. I said, hey, here's the thing. I'm a collegiate athlete, I'm getting 2 degrees, I'm running a business. There's a lot going on. And the thing that just stresses me out more than anything is like finals week. There's all these tests, all of a sudden it's awful. Would you consider just not having tests this semester? And he took a second and he thought about it and he said, okay, everybody turn to page 6 and cross out tests. We're not gonna have any tests this semester. Sweet. I was very popular in that class after that. In any case, he was using this as an example on entrepreneurship to start the semester of ask for what you want. Ask for what you want. And I said this at the company meeting, but like how many opportunities do we think we've missed over the course of our life because we were just too afraid to ask? Start asking. You're not getting any younger, it turns out. It might look like you're getting younger, but we're not. We're getting older, right? So things that you can ask for, because it's not just all about referrals. And I think that a lot of agents get caught up on this. How do I go ask somebody for a referral? Slow down. How about you build a really good relationship with that person first so that it makes sense to ask for referrals and it's not awkward and salesy and then you burn that bridge. So things that you can ask for. Number 1 is introductions. This is one of my favorites because it's easy. Hey, Heather, as an example, is one of my clients. She's who introduced me to this lovely videographer that's been standing here this whole time. And I said to Heather, hey, I need a videographer. Do you know anybody? Yeah, I do. And he's pretty good. And he charges a fair rate. I think you'll really like him. Perfect. Now I go follow him on Instagram. I get to have this meeting with him. Now he knows who I am, yada, yada, and bam. So ask for introductions. I need a builder. I need a designer. I need whatever. Ask for intros. Leverage your network. You can ask for referrals, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can ask for reviews. This is huge. And to our brand new people in the room, I remember being like, shit, how am I gonna get reviews? How are people gonna know that I'm good when I haven't sold any houses? The reviews do not just have to be for helping people buy and sell real estate. You can go do a CMA for somebody. You could help them contest their property taxes right now and win. You could do anything real estate related, or maybe they know you from a past life. They can still leave you a really glowing review. And to people that already have real estate reviews, don't forget that you too can also go ask for those things to bump up your reviews. You can ask for people to share, like, and comment your stuff, especially your friends and people in your database that are small business owners. Make a pact. Hey, I want to hype you up. Do you want to hype me up? Let's do a thing. Anytime that I see your post on here, I'm going to share it, or I'm going to like it, or I'm going to comment. I'm going to do something to help your business. Can you just do the same for me? Because we work real hard on our posts, and it never feels good when you get like 3 likes, you know? And then another is for opportunities. So this is a favorite one for me, is ask for opportunities. This is the one that we're usually most afraid to ask for, right? Maybe there is somebody at your brokerage that you really respect, that you would love to have a relationship with, and you're too afraid to go talk to them and to ask if they would mentor you. That's craziness. Just go ask. And if you ask in a really kind way, they're probably going to help you. Most people do want to help other people. Go ask. We all know who Amy Nakos is. For the people that aren't at our brokerage, she's typically our #1 agent in the company and has been forever. I was on the phone with her yesterday. She told me that she had over $500K in GCI under contract. She's coming for you, Wes. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, my man. Yeah. Whew. And she told me more. Whew. That woman. Okay. So anyways, this is Amy, right? What's so funny is I got to know Amy by walking into a room and deciding I'm going to go talk to the most successful person in this room, and I'm going to ask her to be somebody in my life as a mentor. And I did, and she has been since then. We've become really good friends. Ask for what you want. How to ask. How do we ask for referrals? How do we ask for what we want? Here's the most important thing that I think real estate agents do wrong. Be of service first. We are first of service, right? And then we can ask for things that we need, but you need to build a relationship. You need to build trust. If you just go around and you say, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? Oh my God. No, I don't, and I never will. Never come talk to me, right? Build a relationship, be of service. The way that I like to do this in meetings, I talked about sitting down with out-of-state agents, right? And I talked about sitting down with a roofer, or this, that, whatever. I like to ask in those meetings, is there anything you need in your business right now? Do you need an introduction? Do you need an opportunity? Not just I need customers to paint houses for. No, is there anything that you actually need in your business that I could help with? Do you need more reviews online? Can I like and comment on your stuff? Be of service first. And then in terms of how to ask, I think that the impact team does a really good job with this at their Ascent training, because they get to dedicate like an hour to this. I'm going to give it to you in about 20 seconds of how to ask the question, how to ask for referrals. Most of mine is not a direct ask. So I want you to remember that. About $80 million in real estate sold, 89% referral based, and I am not so much of a direct ask person. So there are other ways, which I'll show you on the next slide. But to be direct, if you feel uncertain about a relationship with somebody, I like to get clear and clarity. Hey, I really value our relationship. If you were to make a real estate move, would I be somebody that you would consider using, or would you use me? Would you feel comfortable using me? Another one would be, would you feel comfortable referring me to other people? Right? Because maybe they already have somebody that they feel obligated to use. No problem. Can I still be the person that you refer out? Do you feel comfortable with that? And if the answer is ever no, no shit, hey, that's so, thank you so much for being vulnerable with me and telling me that. What could I do? Could I change that? But what could I do to be better for other people in the future? Is there any feedback that you have of something that I could work on that you would feel more comfortable referring me? And then this is one of my favorites. People are always like, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? So simple to make this little change. Who do you know? And I would not say, who do you know who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? For the love of God. But maybe you're working with a first-time buyer. You just closed on a house, and they're like, wow, you were so awesome. How can I help you? My whole business is referral-based. Who do you know that's also thinking about buying? And the context there is a little bit more aligned to where you'll get a referral. You're not going to ask that first-time buyer that just closed on 500, who do you know who's selling? They're like, nobody even owns, freaking out. Okay, other ways, so indirect. These are some of the things that I do. I drop it at my very first meeting with people. Right? We always do the, hey, we're here to talk about you, not to talk about me, but unfortunately you should probably know a little bit about me because I'm going to help you make one of the largest financial decisions you've ever made. That's no joke. So a bit about me, I'm 89% referral based. right? You were referred to me by so-and-so, who was referred to me by so-and-so. I'm all referral based. And I just want you to know that that means a couple things. One, it means your referrals mean the world to me in the future. That's what keeps me in business. So if I do a good job, I hope you'll feel comfortable referring me. But number two, it means that I provide good customer service. So that can actually be part of your sales tactic. Put it on your marketing. We talked about the annoying little things that we put on our pop buys, like your referrals are as sweet as honey. Like you can do that stuff, but it's a subliminal message consistently over time that will actually help people understand to refer you. A lot of times it's not that people don't want to refer you, they don't know that they should refer you. You can do competitions with people. You can do VIP opportunities. One of the best things that I did in my business, I think it was my second or third year, I held a VIP dinner. I rented this room at Maggiano's because that's when Victoria and I met. That's where she worked. She was a waitress there. So she knew, who was working there, and they hooked us up with this great room, and I held this VIP dinner where I paid for dinner for everybody. But what I did at the dinner was I invited people that had referred me. Wasn't necessarily people who had closed, people who had referred me. And then I did some superlative type shit. So who sent the most referrals this year? Who closed on the largest house this year? Who closed with the best backyard? And gave out these little silly trophies, right? But the messaging of that whole dinner was around referrals. And the number of referrals I got to that next year, from that next year is why I jumped to 25 million. It was from that dinner. So you can find VIP opportunities, but where a lot of people go wrong with client events is they get everybody together and they don't get the opportunity to speak to everybody at once. So we got to change that.
How much did something like that cost?
Yeah, that dinner, God, that was a while ago. We had maybe 25 people. I want to say my spend was $75 a person. So it was $2,500 or so dollars-ish. Worth it.
Yeah.
But worth it. But you could go do that dinner and not do it the way that I did it and have the messaging and all of that and it not have that same return. So I just encourage you to think about when you're getting in front of your people, how am I going to get referrals from this? But again, be of service to people. It's got to be that balance. So then this was another thing I did at that dinner that now I try to do anytime I have a client event, which is I teach people how to refer me. So at that client event, I did hey, this is the person that referred me the most. They'd sent me 6 referrals that previous year. They got a little reward. And I know my people, they were competitive. And they're like, I want it next year. So that was great. But I also said, hey, some of you sent me referrals this year, but I didn't close with those people. And that sucked because I know that you're sending people to me because you trust them and you trust me and you want them to have a similar experience that you did, right? And I want to make sure that that happens too. So just do me a favor, don't give out my information to people. Please do a 3-way text introduction or a 3-way email introduction if we must, so that I have direct communication with them. And what I want you to know is that I'm not going to spam them and call them. I will only reach out to them at an appropriate timing and with value. And if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. You've already closed a deal with me. You know I'm not a salesy person. And then all of a sudden, the 3-way text intros start rolling in. And goodness gracious, there is nothing better than that. Just bam, sweet, nice to meet you. Let's set up a consultation. So teach them how. A lot of people don't know how. Everyone still with me? Mm-hmm. We're almost to the end. You guys have done really good. I know you don't have tables. Your backs are probably hurting, but you've been crushing it. So, okay, so who do you ask? I'll skip to the bottom line. Everybody with a pulse, right? No, just kidding. Your sphere. When I think about your sphere, it's people that know, like, and trust you because those are people that are willing to put their reputation on the line to put your name out there. They know, like, and trust you. The kind of group of people that I feel like a lot of agents don't leverage enough the way that I do is your referral partners. So right now I'm under contract with my mold guy. I sold a house to my HVAC guy, right? My referral partners are people that I am constantly in touch with and treating the same as I do my prospects. And we went and dropped off, Kylie and I went and dropped off a dozen donuts over to my plumber and HVAC company. And they're like, oh my God, they loved it. So you can do those types of things, but ask your referral partners too. And then what's really funny is lenders and title reps It's okay to ask for referrals. And I will tell you that although there have been some great lenders I have worked with, I also know they're never going to send me a referral. I still use them, but I use them about this percentage of the time. I don't recommend them as much, right? Share the one that makes the honey jars. You're making honey jars for my clients and you send me like 3 to 4 deals a year. You're my girl, done. More importantly, you're good at your job, obviously, but. Okay, my degree in college, I had 2. One of them was psychology. We are animals. In case you have not, we are animals. We are humans. We are animals. And what's so funny is that if you want people to repeat behaviors, you can incentivize and reward them for good behavior. I am not a CPA. This is not tax advice. And hey, by the way, there are some things around RESPA that you'll want to make sure that you get familiar with. But you can reward people for good behavior. So when somebody sends me a referral, bam, here's a handwritten note and a $5 thanks a latte card from Starbucks. Yeah, I love those. We send those to the agents on the other side of deals too. But if they were like a shit, I always tell Kylie, I'm like, they don't get a thanks a latte card. Like, so anyways, the $5 thanks a latte, just thanks so much for taking the time to refer me. This means the world, and it solidifies in their mind this good deed that they just did. And yeah, I know it's only a $5 Starbucks card, but it's more the gesture to them that is like, wow, I want to do that again. Like this really meant something to her and that feels good. So that's when the referral is received, because you don't know if you'll land it or not, so you still send the thank you. Thanks so much for doing that. Thanks for the opportunity. If the referral ends up closing, then I might take a client to dinner, or hey, in my regular thing, like let's go to an Avs game instead of just going to a driving range. Like I want to do a little something extra because you've just been so good to me. We also shout out our people on social media. So we write a blog. When I say we, I'm talking about Kylie and I again, right? When a client closes, we write a blog post for each one of these closings, talking about the client's journey, showing photos of the house if appropriate, etc. And the first line is always, this is how I met this person. Always. And it's almost always a referral. They're referred to me by so-and-so. And then when we post it on social, we tag that person. And then that person feels extra special. Wow, I sent this person to Chelsea. I got this $5 thanks a latte card. She's taken me to an Avs game, and then she shouted me out on social media. It just makes them feel really loved for something that they did. And it's a huge deal. I don't know about you, but I'd rather spend money on that than on calling expireds. Yeah.
Have you ever had someone who uses you all the time, but maybe has like, you don't know about this, but they got a closet relative who's a realtor? And you just shout out them on social media, tag them and stuff like that, and they shoot back like, please take that down or something?
Oh, so the question was, what happens if you shout out a client and then they have like, they're stepping on someone's toes, right? They've got a family member who's an agent or whatever. Do they ask you to take it down? I've never had that, personally. Yeah.
Well, you should ask for permission to post it before you post it, right?
Well, we're not like you can untag yourself always. We're just putting them into the caption. And again, like I have that relationship with my people. If you don't, then fine. But these are all people that I end up being friends with. So for me, that feels appropriate, might not be appropriate for you. Okay, here's the thing. If you're providing shitty customer service, forget about running a referral-based business. Why on earth would you refer somebody that did a bad job? So I just wanted to touch on this for a minute, because if you go look at me online, in any business I have run, I have 5 stars everywhere, every single platform. And it's not just like a Chelsea did a great job. It's like paragraphs, right? Do a great job for people. So if you aren't doing this, forget about the rest. Some of the main points that I want you to know or to have as a real estate agent is number 1, be responsive. This is the bane of my existence as well as a real estate agent. It's hard to be balanced and have a life when we need to be so responsive. Does anyone in this room know who Jeff Glover is? Okay, so I went to Jeff's conference in Scottsdale in January, and he brought up this thing called acknowledgements that I found helpful that I want to share with you, which is somebody texts you, hey, I'll get back to you this afternoon. That's it. And then get back to them that afternoon. But you don't have to feel overwhelmed by 20 people have reached out and it's gonna take me 5 hours to get back to everybody. Just do a quick acknowledgement and then get back to them later. But it goes hand in hand with this of being really responsive, is that people know that you're there. They know that they can get in touch with you if there's an emergency. Be responsive. The second is be accommodating to their schedules. This again can be tricky. I personally do like to take a vacation, and I always tell my clients this. Just because I've stopped showing houses doesn't mean your home search stops. So just let me know if I need to pay an agent to go show you homes. Happy to do it. Be really competent and knowledgeable. Just a reminder, we are helping people make the largest financial decision that they ever make. Somehow this gets lost with a lot of real estate agents. It's not just like a job and for funsies. This is a big fucking deal. Get good at your job if you're not right now. I don't know how to tell you if you are or you aren't, but get better at it. There's always stuff to get better at. I've got stuff I got to get better at. Be considerate. And then here's the main one that I know I'm providing really good customer service is if I don't have clients reaching out to me asking for stuff. That's when I know I'm providing really good service. If they're having to ask me for something, I'm not working far enough ahead of them. They're now controlling the process. I'm not doing a good enough job. Yeah, okay. Always bring value. A lot of times people are hesitant to reach out, right? How do I call this person? And they're hesitant to do that because you're making it about you. Well, I don't want to call this, how do I call this person and ask about, whatever, and you're trying to make it about you instead of make it about them. I know this person is a homeowner right now. They just had a baby. I want to call and check in and see how that's going, right? How is that going? How's the house working out for you? Do you need any contractors to make any adjustments to the house to make that space work better for you, right? Call and ask and provide value. Make it about them. And the thing I'd want to add about that is, has anybody ever had a friend get into a multi-level marketing situation before? Yeah. Right. Why is it the worst?
Yeah, I was going to say all the agents have failed for years.
Yeah.
You feel hunted.
You feel what? Hunted. Yeah, because they're doing what? They're constantly reaching out to you, asking you for something. Don't be that person, right? Come and be of value. Hey, what do you need right now? Here's something I thought that you could benefit from, but if this wasn't helpful, let me know. So would you be friends with somebody that always just wanted something? No. So don't be that person. And then here's the last one. This gets slept on way too much, I think. I gave you my business plan. You are welcome to go do my business plan. But if you go try to do my business plan the way that I have done it, it's not going to work. I've had agents do this. I've had agents take my entire, home buying presentation and go teach the class. And guess what? You're not getting the same results because you're not me. That's not you, right? So be yourself. There's a lovely woman in this room right now, Meg Allen, that's going to be teaching a class on authenticity. And what's the date of it? June? Okay. She's going to take a look for us. Anybody online, you can come to that class too. I know I'm coming. June 4th. From 10 to noon. And it's all about authenticity and how to build trust from authenticity, right? If you are not yourself, people will sense that. Be yourself in anything that it is that you're doing. And here's the fun part about that with referrals, because if you're not, it's going to backfire on your ass and you're going to wish that you'd been yourself. If you're not yourself, you're going to attract people that you don't want to attract, who are then going to refer you to more people that you don't want to work with. If you are yourself, you're going to attract your people who are going to refer you to more of your people. And this job's going to be a lot more fun, and you're probably going to speak to those people a lot better and get more referrals because of that. So be you. Take the idea, take it, but please, in anything that you do, make it yours. Make it yours. Okay. I have one favor to ask before I'll open for questions and we get out of here, which was, you know what, let's go back to this slide really quick. So really quick, I've really loved teaching these classes. It's been really fun for me. I like teaching, educating, coaching, growing others. That's like my jam. Selling real estate is fine. It's fine. So I'm working on a training program that I'm going to be rolling out. If you have any interest in that, follow me on Instagram. I'll put the word out when it makes sense. But I'm trying to find, how can I have a low-cost way to do this for more people? Because I don't feel like I can reach enough people currently. How can I do this for more people, but in a way that's like an easy bill for them to add in? So if you have any interest in any of that, I promise I'll make it good. You can follow along. Okay, now outside of that, what I would really appreciate from each of you, knowing that I'm trying to take some of the stuff I'm doing now and make it better for you, if you could shoot me an email or a text of what was like the most helpful thing or 2 or 3 from this class. Because I might expand upon those things more in the future and cut other stuff out. What was the most helpful? If you could shoot me an email, that'd be great. And if you want those spreadsheets I talked about earlier, you will have to include this in your email. All right, now we've got like 6 minutes, so questions. And sorry to my online people, just email me with questions. Okay. Nope. Perfect. It's a beautiful day. Go enjoy it. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Yep.